Welcome to BizMeds with Darris and Saad, where we give you the medications for your business. This podcast is all about the minimum effective doses you need to make a massive improvement in your business. Listen and enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of BizMeds. We are your hosts. My name is Saad.
And I am Darris.
So, Darris, have you seen the Limitless movie? Have you seen the TV show Limitless?
I haven't seen the TV show. I have seen the movie. I've actually watched it more times than I probably care to admit to. And then most recently I watched it, and apparently there was an even longer version.
Oh, is there?
A slightly longer version, which is just kind of a little bit extra stuff in there. But yes, I have. Absolutely love. If you couldn't tell, I really enjoy watching it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I figured that out after you said you've seen it a few times.
We don't know how many times. I say nothing.
For the audio listeners, I was just visually throwing hand signs at him to tell me what number I should stop at.
I thought you might have been Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights. What do I do with my hands?
So I wanted to specifically talk about the experience and what Bradley Cooper goes through, having the clarity through every day, just knowing exactly what to do and doing all of the things, having a literally
accomplishing so much in such a little
in a short time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And having the joy in doing all of that, as again, it also extends to like having his entire house cleaned up.
Okay.
Right. Like this is, but let's talk about that specifically.
Yeah. I won't talk about house cleaning specifically, but so when I watched the movie, am I the only one that just sat there and like, I wish there was actually that pill, because that would be amazing. Like, did that?
Well, I didn't think about that in the pill format.
No.
But I was like, it'd just be nice to be able to be dialed in whenever you wanted to.
Well, you think about like how many times you watch TV and you're like, oh, well, there's a pill for that, right? Like, oh, you have this issue. Well, there's pharmaceutical companies pushing whatever. And this is not a conversation around that, but like my mind immediately went to, oh, that would be so amazing. Why? Well, first of all, that's easy, right? It's the easy button. Like, can you imagine just taking one little, tablet and suddenly, boom, like you have the most intense focus of attention and everything that you ever have. Suddenly you're reaching back into things that you read 10 years ago, and your brain is like completely lit up, and you get so
files
much
are
done.
organized.
Yeah, files are organized. You go in, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what? This clutter is not going to do it for me. I can't work like this, and you clean everything up, and everything has a place. And
I meant mental files, like just your brain storage.
Everything, right? And I was like, that would be absolutely freaking amazing to be able to have that. That's where I would thought, and it's like, okay.
No, I agree with you. Like it's such a cool experience, especially even watching the movie. When he takes the pill, everything just gets brighter. Everything becomes clear. Yeah. His eyes are wide awake. Like he's aware of his surroundings. He starts paying attention to literally the smallest little details.
Yep.
And exactly like you said, he's going into his mental library of like 10 years ago when he saw something and has a memory and a recollection of that. It would be a really cool thing to have. But unfortunately, we live in a real world, and if that pill existed, everybody would be super successful, and working hard wouldn't be a thing. So where I'm going with that is there are ways to do that. But problem is it's not easy. It's not hand-fed to you. It's not a pill you can swallow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is usually the issue. As soon as there's friction around something, people don't want to do it, because we are, whether we want to admit it or not, we are constantly conditioned to believe that there is an easy button, right? There's a whole Staples marketing around they have an easy button, like hit the easy button, something magic. There is no easy button, right? There's no magic bullet. There's no silver bullet. There's no magic thing that's going to fix that thing or magic pill that's going to fix that immediately, right? Like we are conditioned because that appeals to that emotional side of us, right? That completely emotional side, the buying side of us, like, oh my, it could be that easy. And wouldn't that be amazing? And suddenly we picture ourselves in that magical world where that's happening. And oh yeah, I have to do that. That it's going to be just like that. It's going to be super easy. We sell on that, but we don't experience that in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand. And I agree with it. But the really cool thing about that is that our brains are wired to house information. It's just accessing it at the right time, because there's so much clutter. There's so much random stuff that's stored in there.
Yeah.
You a lot of times lose that. And then, again, shower thoughts, right? When you're out and about, or if you're having a shower, you'll have like oh yeah, I remember doing that one time. Anybody ever have like a random embarrassing memory from like decades ago? And it's like, why am I remembering that right now? So there's a lot of information in your mind constantly stored. So to be able to like organize that, it would be just a game changer.
Well, it is all there.
Yeah.
Right. And we talked about it a couple episodes ago. We talked about, leaders are readers, and the reason why it's because our brains are part of our brains anyway, our subconscious is a great pattern recognition system. And the more we put into it and it stores it all away, we may not be consciously aware of it. But what happens is when we get a shower, right, we do something just physically enough to like disconnect and allow our subconscious to take over, the pattern recognition system just kicks in and starts to make connections that we're not really aware of. But we go back to the original kind of like where we kicked this whole episode off was, wouldn't it be cool, right? We had a pill like Bradley Cooper's character Eddie in Limitless. And yeah, it would be really cool. The really cool thing is we can actually do that anytime. And people may not be surprised, but we're going to talk a little bit about flow. And like that is that whole scenario, but you don't have to take a pill to do it, right? So that state actually exists. That may be an extreme version of what that is, but realistically, like there is probably no other movie that really kind of defines or better
illustrates
what actually going into flow looks and feels like when you are, and especially as we outlaid it in our course, the 1 month day, how to achieve more in a day than most people do an entire month. Like that's that whole point, right? And it was really interesting as we really started to, after we developed the course and started getting to the marketing of it, it's like, oh wow, like it hit me. I was like, that is exactly what this is, without really even realizing it at the time. That's what we've essentially created, is that you could be Bradley Cooper in Limitless like any day you wanted to.
Well, a perfect example right from the movie is, do you remember when
I will say yes, because I remember part of the movie.
Because you've only seen it
once. One time. Keep guessing. I'm never giving it up.
So was it his neighbor, is the one that was writing the essay or the thesis or the whatever
it was? His landlord's girlfriend.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
writing a law thesis.
Yeah, exactly. And the premise was that she was going to be spending months trying to get that thesis out, and they did it in like an hour?
Yeah, a couple hours.
Yeah, exactly. And they were just so locked in, and they had so much extra time. They were hanging out.
Yeah.
For anybody that hasn't seen the movie, watch the movie. for that information. But what I'm trying to say with that is that with the 1 month course, you learn the skill of flow and how to optimize your what it is that you're actually looking to accomplish, and enjoy the end product and the journey of it.
Yeah.
You get so immersed into like doing the task that you don't really realize that you're spending all this time where you thought you would be spending months, and you're collapsing it so quickly and doing it so fast that, yeah.
Well, the reason why we say we'll do more in a day than you've ever done in a month. And it's probably actually more than that, but if you say anything bigger than that, people, that's not, it's actually scientifically proven. Now, because when we look at it, right? So it's again, I go back to the movie, and this is why I love it. And I didn't really realize it till much later after we kind of developed the course and everything. Like, oh wow, like we can actually train this. We can actually develop this skill to be able to go into flow whenever we want. And most people probably, when we talk about flow, they're like, I don't even really understand what that means. And I think the closest, like, I want you to think about like just the time where you've just been so engaged in something that you're doing, right? Some type of activity. Maybe it's you met up with a friend and suddenly like you are just in the zone, like you're just in the moment, and it seems like, oh, that felt like it was only 20 minutes, but 3 hours has gone by, right? Like that would be very close to a flow state, right? There are extreme athletes that you see to get into flow, which is why, like they're able to do things like develop their skill or develop their sport to the level that they do, is because they go into that zone where everything clicks, everything just makes perfect sense because they're just so in the moment, right? So if you can think back to times where you've experienced that, like for me, I had never really realized until I actually learned and stumbled onto the neuroscience of flow, was that, oh, when I was a competitive speed skater, like I still have times where I remember my best race ever, where I was like, everything it felt like just a universe lined up, everything came together, and it was amazing. Like I never felt so in the zone in my life ever before. And it wasn't until later, after experiencing the complete opposite of that and feeling I had no control and stressed, burned out, overwhelmed, that, oh, this is something you can train, you can develop the skill and go into that, and you can leverage, you can use that skill to do so much more than you ever thought possible, and kind of gain the rest of your life back for that, to do all those other things, right? So if you want to take up a language, you could do that, or whatever it is. But like that's essentially like the movie of Limitless is probably the best illustration for what you do in a 1 month day. It's like you are completely zoned in. Like we teach you the exact formula to be Eddie.
Exactly. So
you may not become a trading
guru. Yeah. So that's a little far-fetched, but the funny thing and interesting thing about that whole thing is, after he takes the pill, the next day he's just exhausted, right? Like it takes a lot out of him.
Yeah.
With the 1 month day, if you're not very well rested, you're going to have a shitty flow day.
Oh.
But in general, like it takes a lot of like mental energy.
Right.
So similarly to the movie, after the pill, when he's exhausted, after a solid flow day, do a lot, your neurochemicals are just firing and like being utilized, you're really like drained.
Yeah.
Like you're exhausted. And I've experienced that myself. It's funny because it's the good kind of exhausted. It feels like,
well, you've actually accomplished something.
Exactly. Like the things that were sitting, festering, that needed to be done, that were going to take 3 months to get done, got done a lot faster.
Absolutely.
And you're just like, man, I slept like a baby.
Well, it speaks to, when we actually talked in the episode about flow and the flow cycle, right? So the fourth stage of it is recovery, and how important that stage is within your 1 month day. So in your flow day and post, right? Pre, during, and post are all like integral parts of that. So like you said, if you're not well rested on the front end, like you have to make sure that your neurochemical levels are maximized going in, right? Then you're going to expend it during the day. So you have to have, we teach you all of that. So how to recover, and then post recovery is really important. Yeah. Cause you cannot, like, whereas, in the movies, like, oh, I just keep taking a pill and I just stay in the state forever and ever and ever. Like that is a really unrealistic. So don't want anyone to have like unrealistic expectations of what that's like. No, the realistic expectation is you go into flow and you come out of flow. And that is the cycle.
So in the movie, remind me, because you've seen it 2 times, I've seen it 1 time. Remind me, at the end, was there like any side effects? So where I'm going with this is, again, it didn't click in for me at all how much comparative the 1 month day was comparatively like aligned with
Right.
with you know.
So initially, if you like when he started taking it, and then when he stopped taking it, is when people started to die, right? Because you couldn't just stop taking the pill because that's when a lot of the other people that he found out were actually taking it in the book were in the hospital or passed away. His former girlfriend was like completely train wreck after, you know, there was a couple scenes where he's experiencing like massive withdrawal and like massive symptoms from that. And then he goes on and he eventually develops it so that he gets to where he can wean himself off of it, but has the remaining effects.
Okay.
Right.
So the reason why I bring that up is because, again, we're talking about the whole cycle of flow and how to do it properly. In the TV series, what they do, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but what they do is like, again, there's
Where's my earmuffs?
this guy gets on it and he is like helping solve cases and whatever, and it's a completely different take on Limitless. Right. It's just pretty much like a crime TV show type of deal, but it's cool because Bradley Cooper actually does star guest in it for a little bit. Yeah. But in that same thing, like he thought he could just take this pill every single day, just keep doing it every single day because it was just
cannot.
Yeah, he was just crushing it. So similar with flow. You can't keep doing it every single day. Yeah. It's a skill set that you would pull out for things you're looking to quickly accomplish, collapse your timelines so you have a runway to slowly work on other things.
Well, it's a skill that you can implement it on a regular cadence, right? Yeah. So if you want to do it once a month, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Do you have more than enough runway to do that? Yeah. You want to do it once every 2 weeks? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? Say, oh, I want to do it once a week. Yeah, you could absolutely do that, and you could start really, really collapsing some time frames. You could, as we talk about in the course, like there's other ways that you could hit the accelerator. But again, those are not, you don't do that all the time. Those are like a very short, sustained burst.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's what I was saying with the TV show. Dude was taking a pill a day, solving a case a day,
right? And
like was doing it for months on end. So I don't think with flow you can do it every single day or months on end.
No, we live like
unrealistic.
Yeah, your basic physiology, your neurochemical supply will just not keep up to that, right? You will push yourself out into burnout and overwhelm, like 1,000,000%, and which case you'll have to recover from that, so you don't get any benefit from it. Right. So there is the dark side of flow, right? You can push it too much. There are people that are known as flow junkies, right? They love that feeling of being in flow and they chase that all the time. And it is a completely unsustainable way of being, right? Yeah. Just the same way as those who don't even know what flow is or how to use flow and continually grind, hustle every fucking day thinking that they're going to get ahead. And what do? They end up with this ongoing list of stuff that they need to do never gets done and never time to spend time with their families or anyone else.
Exactly.
Right. And then what happens is they feel guilty, ashamed, all these things, and they quit and they go find a job because whatever, I tried that business thing, didn't work, way too much. Well, this is why we're here. We don't want that to happen. We want to break that cycle from happening.
Exactly.
We want you to be Bradley Cooper. We want you to be Eddie. Right.
When you need to.
When you
need to pull it out, you have that skill ready to go. Just like,
well, the interesting thing about it is that when you do it, when you start to implement this skill, you learn how to do it. The interesting thing that happens is, like Eddie's character, long term, is your baseline performance just gets better. Right. You don't actually return to minimum baseline because now you know that you're able to do so much more in much less time, that suddenly it removes a lot of mental roadblocks and negative anchored thinking and things like that. And now your baseline performance has improved dramatically. And now you're like, oh, well, I can get a ton of this stuff done. Yeah. And every time you do it, the skill gets better. You get probably, You learn how to amplify your flow session. You get deeper flow. You get your creativity, your productivity goes even further, multiplies. And now you're getting even more done. You're collapsing more time frames, that your baseline performance just get better and better and better, but without having to live in a constant 100% of the time, just grinding it at all, every minute.
So in the movie, there's a point after when NZT wears off, Eddie wakes up the next morning. He's like, I was having no cool premonitions anymore. All of that stuff was gone. It was just, and this is just me paraphrasing. I don't remember it because I've only seen it one time and you've seen it
half.
five.
I think I've got half of it. It's not half. It's not half. It's not
You
the
just
first half.
skimmed through it two times speed.
It was on in the background while I was doing a flow day.
So, he wakes up and he's got no clue of what he wants to do in the day and whatever. Interestingly, though, with flow, when you do go through a flow day, your brain is clear for the next day. You might not be actually doing another flow day,
yes,
but your brain is clear.
Yes,
you know what you're going to do throughout the day. You know all the things that you wanted to get done are done.
Yep.
Now you can focus on how to improve. So it does give you the premonitions or the ideas on what to do for
your product, your creativity system is just completely jacked up.
Yeah.
Right. So, and when you get all that stuff done, is you now, if you go back earlier, we talked about cognitive load. Your cognitive load is super low coming out. So your creativity is still high. Cognitive load is way down. Your pattern recognition system is bumping. So of course, all of those neurochemicals are still kind of coming through your body. You might be out of a flow day, but that stuff is still happening. So yeah, it's kind of the nice part of the end of it. Yes, you'll be tired, you'll sleep like a baby, but mentally you'll have such clarity, and that stuff will continue. It's kind of the antithesis of what Eddie experienced.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't wake up, you're like, oh yeah, I don't even remember. It's like, oh wow, that just happened, and oh wow, these things are still coming because your neurochemicals are still firing.
Exactly.
Yeah. The truth is that's what we end up inadvertently stumbling upon with the neuroscience of flow. And then again, through creating this course specifically, not even realizing, even when we built it, that this is what we were doing, is that there is, without having to take a pill, there is the ability to live moments like Eddie does in Limitless, where you are completely focused, dialed in, you get so much done, and your life suddenly just compresses in terms of getting things done faster than you ever thought possible in timeframes you never thought were actually possible. And there's actual neuroscience that explains and supports it. And there's many, many studies on it that actually do that. So if you're interested, just Google flow state. Yeah. Right.
The other interesting thing that you just kind of connected for me mentally is that if you notice when he takes NZT, he's again moving through, focused, doing things, but then he's working on how to grow and then do the next thing.
Yep.
He's not stuck in the same thing, trying to be the master of one area.
Absolutely.
He's looking at he's growing his skills, he's learning, he's educating himself, he's spending time, and through the entire movie, obviously, that's the premise of the movie, that he takes this pill and becomes a smart, super smart person. And he finds a way to now take the next step in his career. So aligning that with the business and the flow state, it helps you start focusing on areas where you need to grow, where you need to spend your time at, where you need to, allocate your resources. Now that the things that needed to get done are getting done, let's focus on the next thing that needs to get done. How do we grow that?
Yeah. How do we use leverage like flow to create more leverage in your business to give you more time back, more life back, grow your business so that you can accomplish what it is that you are here to accomplish. Absolutely. Yeah. There was another thought I had as you were going through that, and it's that touched on it briefly at the beginning, and there are things that prevent us from being able to do that, right? So first of all, it's not a pill. It requires some work. It requires an investment of time, understanding, developing a skill set. Right? There's pre-work that enables you to be able to do that, right? So there is work, and that's where I think there's a lot of people that just, it's not a pill. That's cool. That means we're not talking to you, right? But for those that are looking for that way to be able to do that, then that's who we're here to help and talk you through it. So if you're looking for, if you would like help doing that, then we're here. We got you. We can help you do that. Just let us know. And the reason why we're at that stage is because we do not realize how distracted a life that we live. And we continue, I know we've said it before, we'll say it a million times, is that you look, you can get the screen time reports now. If you have an iPhone, tells you how much screen time it is, and you can see just how much time you don't even realize you're spending on your phone, and it makes me feel ashamed sometimes, right? And like, wow. And so that I say that only so that we understand that you don't realize it, but you are way more distracted than you ever thought possible. And we are conditioned now. We live in an age where we're conditioned that is the norm. We don't know how to get into a focused state like that. That we've lost that ability. We've lost how to actually get ourselves to a state where we're super creative and productive, where we're doing more than we ever thought possible. No, we delude ourselves to thinking the busy work that we're doing from day to day is the most important work. Like we're running around answering all these fucking emails and going to talk to who knows who about whoever hurt whose feelings when they said something in the office. And that doesn't really fucking matter, does it? Because it's not growing your business.
Clutter.
Yeah, it's all the cognitive load, all the bullshit that we think is important, but because we don't know how to move and get into a flow state like that, or to reclaim control of our attention and our focus, then we will continue to live that life in that spiral. But luckily, there are programs like this that can help move you through that, if that's what you like to do.
Yeah. So
you can be Bradley Cooper in Limitless. You can be.
So if that is something that you're looking to do and you're looking to get some more information about, feel free to reach out to us, leave a comment below, and we can kind of engage with you and figure out like how we can help you and how we could be, again, keeping true to our whole purpose, still help business owners. So if it's a business owner that's listening and that they're looking to become Bradley Cooper in Limitless, we can help you with that stage. But I think
actually spend time with your family and do things that you love doing, and not have to work every minute of every second of every day. Then
this is the podcast, this is the course, and these are the coaches for you guys that can help you. And that's not a sales pitch, that's just us being very honest. So I think this is a perfect place for us to call this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you have something else you want to?
I have nothing else. I think I have to go watch the movie again though. Try to brush up. We want to thank everyone for humoring us, listening to our terrible jokes sometimes, and us just kind of stumble through sometimes what it feels like. But we appreciate all the support, the care, the comments when you talk to us in person. Let us know. Thank you so much. Again, if you like what you hear, please share, get the word out. That's all we ask, because we don't get paid for doing this. We do it because we're out here to serve you and all the business owners out there. So we love you. We thank you. To our moms, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody, for the support. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Absolutely.